How's it going, guys? I'm just getting started here. Okay, it looks like Facebook is not working. Let me just tell them that there's no working on Facebook. Strange. Okay. The Twitch is working and it looks like YouTube's working. Okay. We can get started though. How's it going, you guys? Happy Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in the US. Hey, me. How's it going? Can you guys hear me okay? Making sure we don't have any technical difficulties here. Hey, what's up, Winston? Good job on that character, man. Okay. What's up, Craig? I'm doing great. Doing great. It is snowing a ton outside right now. So we could lose power. We could lose internet. This stream could go down any minute. So just so you know, we're kind of crossing our fingers that that doesn't happen. So, okay. I wanted to get a tail on this guy and start building his hat and his sweater, and then refining him a bit. So, how are you guys doing? Are you guys snowed in too? Probably not. But it is coming down here in Utah. That's where I'm from. Hey, Al, it's awesome. It's a bit low. I'll crank it up a bit. How's that? There we go. I can push this closer to me. How's that? Is that better? Okay. I don't know why Facebook is not working. But I'm going to post a link to Twitch over in Facebook, just so they know. Join us on Twitch. Boom. I should probably delete that. Because I can't post as the Facebook person that I'm logged in to as whatever. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's get this bird dress, shall we? Haven't seen me in over a year. Holy cow. This what, like oh, I get it. Like since 2018. It's been a long time. All right. Massachusetts got hit with snow and sleet today, -20 wind chill. Eugh. It's not that cold here. It is blowing, but there's a ton of snow. I think we have 8 inches out there, I would guess, so far. And it's still coming down, so we'll see. All right, let's get this tail happening. I'm just going to use a squished appendage brush. Okay, let's see. I need to... So insert multi-meshes do not work on subdivided meshes. So I need to duplicate this body first, and then get rid of the subdivision levels. It looks like it didn't have any. I wonder why. Maybe I was on a different subtool. I don't know what was up with that. Okay, anyway, I'm going to draw this out like this. I actually want 2 of them. Yeah, how he has like twin-tipped feathers. We'll go like this. And we're going to flip it around. Oh, Brazil is hot as ever. Closer to the equator. Yeah. Squish it down. Oh, really? A ton of snow soon? Okay, I'm going to just kind of bend these together inwards like this. So we have kind of this heart-shaped feather thing. Now what I can do is I'm going to separate this out, split to unmask points. It's gonna, and that, now I have two birds. I'm going to get rid of this second one. And Facebook is still not working. I don't understand why. No word from the Pixel peeps. Sorry, I'm just getting them, letting them know. Oh, okay. So yeah, Pixel Leon. So Eamon was said he was not going to go earlier today, or there was some confusion there, and he ended up streaming anyway. So they had to kind of redo the Facebook links and the YouTube links, and it got kind of messed up because of that. So it's still me. Yeah. Thanks, Neil. Yes, this concept art is done by Mitch Leeuwe. So if you want to check out more of Mitch's work, Neil just posted a link to his Instagram. Mitch is fantastic, so you should check out his stuff. Well, no, he went earlier today, and yeah, they just got the titles mixed up. I'm going at my normal time. It's just the titles are a little off, so they're gonna have to change that out. Okay, so just like I did last week, I want to put a bend in this tail feather. So how I do that, I can do it one of two ways. This time I'm going to use the actual deformer inside the gizmo. So I'm going to actually bend this straight. Not bend it, I'm going to make it straight. And then what I can do is reset this gizmo, because the gizmo location matters when it comes down to this. I'm going to turn off symmetry and then get it into place here, and then turn symmetry back on, then go in this gear, and I can use this bend curve gizmo or modifier. Typically, like last week, was it last week? Anyway, during one of my streams, I typically show you how I bend stuff with the old Transpose tool, which I like to do, but sometimes I'll do it this way with this modifier because it's kind of fun. Hey, Mathis. It is going to open very, very, very soon. I want to try and get a webinar happening really soon to let you guys in. So I'm really excited because now is a very good time to join the course, because I just started a student-only live stream 2 weeks ago. So this week, Wednesday, will actually be the third week. And what I'm doing is I'm modeling up a concept. It's going to be a full production kind of concept all the way from start to finish. And I'm doing it live so the students can ask me questions, and I'm going much, much deeper than I do here on the stream. I talk about anatomy, I talk about comparisons between females and males, and just all different kinds of things as I'm working through everything. And I'm going to take it all the way to a game character, so I'm going to go over retopology and UVs and all that stuff. So now is a really great time to get in the course. Plus, I have interviews coming with, when I say interviews, I mean, I do professional interviews. So I find people in the industry that are doing a specific skill that I want my students to learn. And I will ask that person if they can do an interview. And I will do a kind of a two-part interview with them. The first part is like, how did they get to where they are in their career? And the second part is some instruction on how they're doing that specific technique that they do, which is really cool. Okay. So what I'm going to do, so those two dots, the two orange dots, I'm pointing to my screen like you can see what I'm pointing at. But these two orange dots, that actually represents the bend curve through the tail feather. Neil, will the videos you've already done be available for catch up? Absolutely. Thanks. That's a great question. Okay, let's see. So the axis, this red cone, if you pull it out, you can see, so this is the Z axis. See how the two dots are on top of each other? And then if I pull it one more time, you can see actually the cone changes color. So it's saying this is the Z axis of the gizmo instead of the Z axis of the world. So this is actually the Z axis or Z axis, depending on how you say the letter Z or Z. Okay, so this is going down the length of the curve. So if I push this in, it turns green, which is the y-axis, and if I push it all the way in, it's the x-axis, and that just means based on where the gizmo was before you hit the bend modifier. Okay, looks like Pixelogic's asking me now. Okay. Okay, looks like now Facebook's saying this live broadcast has expired. Kyle's funny. He just posted a GIF of fix it, Felix. I'll fix it. Fix it, Felix. Okay, this next one is smoothness, and the last one is curve resolution. Resolution just means, see how it has 2 points? If I drag it out a little more, it's going to give me more points, and you can drag it out quite a bit and get quite a few points, and that's just the resolution of the curve that you're going to bend it across. I like to do something like this. And what's really cool about this is after you bend it, you can turn up the resolution and bend it some more, like in between those dots, while you're still bending it. I wish this was a non-destructive workflow. I wish you could keep this modifier on there and go back into it if you needed to. But unfortunately, when you're done bending the thing, you have to say, okay, I'm done, that's what I want. And then if I try to bend it again, you kind of lose the direction of that modifier, and it tries to bend it in a new different way because the bounding box is different. So that's one thing you have to kind of be aware of. Okay, so let's start grabbing these points and just bending this feather down like this. I'm not going to bend it much, just a little bit, enough to give it kind of a swooping curve here. But see, what I was talking about is now that it's bent this way, let me turn, I don't think symmetry is on. There we go. Anyway, now that it's bent this way, I can actually crank up this curve resolution and bend it in between these dots now if I wanted to. But I think I don't want that. I'm just going to keep it like, you know, just nice and clean. Okay, so now that that's done and I like it, I can just, yeah, I will need to turn it back on when I'm done, Neil. So I can just hit accept. Actually, it's still on, so that's good. Okay. So now I can move the gizmo toward the tip of the tail and kind of bend it even more into place. You know, depending on how low I want it. Just kind of check it out. Can you do that with ZBrush Core? I don't believe so. I haven't really played with ZBrush Core much past the when I initially played with it. I'll have to try it some more and see if anybody knows if that works in ZBrush Core or not. Please say so. How's it going, guys that are just joining us? Okay, I'm gonna make this sweater. I'm gonna do this sweater a little differently. Typically, I would go in here and I would draw the topology on top of the body and then inflate it from there. But since this sweater is so kind of bulky and puffy, I'm gonna just make it out of spheres and join it all together, kind of just like I blocked him out in the first place. Yeah, turn on his eyeballs. There we go. And his eyelids. Okay. Oh, Winston, you have? Okay. Cool. Okay, so with this one, what I want to do is I'm just going to start with a sphere, just like I would if I was blocking the character out. But I'm actually going to grab the color because whatever color you have to start with before you do an insert multi-mesh, that's the color it's going to be when you draw it in there. So I'm just going to grab a medium, kind of this medium blue color in here. Something like that. Chris, if you want to, I don't care. It's up to you, man. Okay. Why a sphere and not extract? I don't use extract hardly at all because it gives me a really messy mesh. Like extract just kind of gives you a lumpy mesh. Like you're talking about if you mask it off and then extract it from there. It's just, I can Z-remesh that, but the edges are just very messy. I will use extract in some cases, specifically when it has a little more detail, like lace work or something like that. I'll actually paint it out and then extract that. But typically I'll either draw it on with the Topology brush. That's just because that's what I like to do. I just like to keep my meshes as clean as possible. So I'll do the, I'll do that. I'll do the Topology brush, or I'll just block it out again. Hey Juan, how's it going? Okay, looks like we have a new Facebook link. Let me see. Okay. Super warbly. Yep. Hey, what's up, Dan? Okay, so let's get to it. I'm just going to block this in with this sphere and just kind of munge it around. There's so many different ways of doing things in here. It's just kind of whatever you're comfortable with, you know? But since his body's already a sphere, and the sweater's kind of a sphere, it makes sense to me just to block it out with a sphere. He's like an egg. He's like a bird that never left its egg. And then the bottom will be clipped off straight. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, and then I'll block out the turtleneck with a sphere as well as the arms. Okay, so that's probably good enough. Now I can clip this off right now just using the clip curve brush, and I'll just kind of tilt my camera because I want it to go, well, I guess I could do it from the side. I want it to go like this, so I can just clip it. But it looks like the resolution isn't enough, so I might have to add more resolution. So let's check this out here. I'm going to turn off dynamic subdivisions and turn on poly groups, and you can see that I'm going to separate the groups out. I need to have this sweater in its own subtool because it's made of a different material than the body. So I'm just going to open this up and hit split unmask points. Then hit my down arrow, which will select the new object. Hey, Shaswata, how you doing, man? Okay, so when I use the clip curve brush like this, you'll see that it gives me kind of a chunky result, like a not the best result. So another thing I could try is this trim curve brush, which will actually make geometry, and it's much cleaner. See that? So trim or clip curve brush will actually take all the geometry and just kind of smash it up against the end. It should be like called the clip smash brush. But the trim curve brush will actually cut it and then fill it with geometry. So, but the geometry that it fills it with is triangles, and that's okay because we're going to Z-remesh it anyway. So, not too bad. Yeah, Defraue. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but it's just going to be a sphere again. I'm just going to squish the sphere around, and then to make the hat, I'm probably just going to draw that on the surface of the head and just pop it off and just give it thickness. Pretty simple, not too complex. Okay, now you can see that the sphere isn't really around him evenly, so I'm just going to adjust that really quick. had to use the Clip Smart Brush. What is that? Or Clip. Is that a thing? Sorry, I'm looking. Or is that a different? I pronounced it right? Okay. What are you talking about, Curve Smart Brush? Or did you just mispronounce? I don't know. Anyway, let me know if that's something that exists, because I've never heard of that before. Okay, so now that we have this clipped off, what we can do is make the sleeves. So I'm going to use the insert appendage to do that, just like I did with the arms. Just kind of grow them out. Looks like the snap isn't the best. And then just kind of move them into place. The clip smash. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. I hope I'm not confusing anybody by calling it that. I'm just saying that's what it does. Okay, and these sleeves kind of end in a... they're kind of bulbous where they end on the wrist. So let's turn off wireframe and get this inflate. I want to inflate this. Okay, got to turn off spotlight projection. That's crazy. It gets me every single time, I swear, every time. Who's the concept artist? It is Mitch Leeuwe. And I think I'm saying his name right now, correctly. And Neil's been posting a link to his Instagram. It's just Mitch Leeuwe on Instagram. There you go. Thanks, Neil. Okay, so see how this is kind of puffy and then it ends abruptly. So I'm going to hide that and just kind of edit it so it kind of goes there. Because, Bridgemonger, the people don't typically use Spotlight like this. Spotlight is meant to project images down on top of models and paint them like a sticker, like painting them down onto the model. So this was just kind of a byproduct of them putting Spotlight in there. So it's not meant for reference images. It's just... Joseph Druss did it one time. I saw him do it, and I'm just like, how did you do that? And I did it, and my brushes weren't working. I'm like, why aren't the brushes working? Oh, you got to turn spotlight projection off. Oh, okay. It's funny because people ask me about it in every single stream. You know, why to use the spotlight instead of like one of the other reference programs? And the only reason is, one, I'm used to it now. I like it. I like to have the images here because I like to just be able to grab it and just be able to turn down the opacity or pick colors off of there. And I know you can do that with the other programs. What is it called? The reference program? Anyway, I haven't tried it yet, to be honest, and I'm still just used to this. Hey, from Ukraine. Hello. How are you doing? Yeah, PureRef. There you go. Thanks. So a lot of people use PureRef, and you can use it alongside of ZBrush nicely. And I've tried it once. I just haven't gotten the hang of it yet. Where can you close it? You can find it, and you can find where any shortcut is if you hold Control and hover over the top of it. And I know that's kind of difficult if you don't have my user interface, so you don't know where the button is in the first place, but I can show you right here. So if I go down here, Spotlight Projection, hold down Control, you can see it shows you the button path along the bottom right here. It just went away. Okay, so it says Brush, Samples, Spotlight Projection. So if you go into Brush, Samples, where is it? And then there's the button right there, on, off. So when you have when you're using Spotlight as reference images, you need to have that turned off if you want your brushes to work. And the reason why it's a kind of a gotcha, because your move brushes will work and all the other brushes won't. So you'll be in there moving everything around, thinking everything is just fine, and all of a sudden you'll try to inflate something. It doesn't work. My brush doesn't work. What's wrong? So, Mitch Leeuwe, oh, there he is. There he is. Okay. Yay. How's it going, Mitch? Mitch is watching us over on Facebook. I said it correctly. Yay. Mitch, did you say it was of Dutch descent? Is that where it comes from? Okay, now that his sleeves are in, I want to make his sleeves puffier. See how this nice smooth curve is coming around here? And it's going to change after I pose him. I'm going to put him in this pose at the end, and when that pose happens, the curvature is going to change a little bit to make it work. I look like a cartoon character. I made myself as a cartoon character. You guys have seen me as my bear, right? Oh, Games and Bacon, you're totally right. Why didn't I think of that? A Z Startup plugin, you can set it to have spotlight projection off by default. So if you don't use spotlight for its intended purpose, but for ref, it's super handy. So you can just, there's a plugin called Z Startup. Also, and it might not, it may or may not work, but I have a startup project rather than a plugin, and I save all of my settings inside of a project. So every time I load that project, all the settings are there. And man, I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to try and see if a project can actually hold that setting inside of it. That's got me wondering. So, yeah, R3D, it's just on Mitch's Instagram page, so you can check it out there. What else was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say that you can, I offer this user interface and all these brushes for free over on my website, and it's right above my head, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. If you just do a Google search, you can find that. So, Mitch or Harvey, I like Pure Ref. I just don't have enough experience with it to be comfortable with using it on stream. So I just need to practice with it more and try it out a little more. That's great, Mitch. I think there is some delay on Facebook. I'm glad you found it because there were some issues with Facebook earlier, but I'm glad they Pixelogic got it working. Anyway, it's a little faster if you watch over on Twitch. So did I turn this off? Okay. Anyway, it's Pixelogic over on Twitch. So Twitch. Thanks, Neil. And there's a bit less of a delay over there. Well, thanks, Bridge. So, I don't know if you guys have seen, let me see, hold on a second. So Much Monsters. Hey, what's up, Joe? How you doing, man? Thanks. Yeah, this is a concept from Mitch Leeuwe. Okay, let's see. So, Paperboy, that's actually a really good, that's a really, really good suggestion. He's got a little boat and everything. Like, Mitch has designed a little boat where he lives. That's why he's got the sailor hat, which is really cool. Okay, I was just gonna try and find my my bear. Me as a bear. You guys have all seen that. I was just gonna try and find it and open it up. That's bear point. Bear idea. Yes, as in lion. Yep. That's correct, right, Mitch? Okay, I haven't opened this CTL, so hopefully it's not horrible. All right. There we go. This is me as a bear. This is, I made this a while ago. Okay, Mitch is over here on Twitch. Cool. Anyway, it's got this He's got this little goatee and glasses like me and a hat like me. That's about where that ends. I need to redesign him a little bit more because this mouth isn't the best for animation, and these claws are kind of huge. I mean, they look good in Scragglebeard Johnson. How y'all doing, kids? Yeah, so these claws are a bit big. Yep. Pretty much, right? Yeah, this is... So, you guys, I use Spotlight to make this hat texture. So I just pulled in... I pulled in the texture from... I just found it on... Wait, I actually think... I might have even taken a picture of it on my phone of my actual hat. But I think I just found a pattern that on Google, and then I just put it here on Spotlight, and then I just put it down on the hat with that kind of stuff. So... why is it hard to animate? Because the mouth is pulled so far, it needs to be in a neutral position for animators, and it needs to have enough rings around the lips that it can do full emotes. Right now, it's very, very hard to make the ooh sound with this mouth because it's just pulled so big like that. So, why do you say that? Anyway, back to the birdie. All right, let's get the turtleneck in there so it doesn't look like he's necklace. Necklace. Yeah, you know what's interesting? My last name is Olson, right? O-L-S-O-N, which is Swedish, and O-L-S-E-N is Dutch. I guess. That's what I've heard anyway. little trivia that nobody needs to know. Who cares? Sculpt the bird. Yes, when the riggers need to do blend shapes, correct. Actually, my friend Nigel, Joe knows Nigel. Nigel is a fantastic animator. And he really wants to animate my bear. I need to make it animatable. I don't know what he wants to do with it. Nigel, yep. Nigel's amazing. Okay. Need to make it come clear down his chest like this. Does he rig too? Does Nigel rig? I used to rig once upon a time, and I haven't done it for so long that I was going to attempt it, but, you know, time. Yeah, I don't even know where he's at right now. So Nigel worked with me on Disney Infinity, and then he worked with Joe on, is it Gigantic? Is that the name of it? Okay, why? There we go. Is he at Riot? Oh, I didn't know he went to Riot. Okay. Sorry, Joe and I are having a conversation about old co-workers. And the course is going great. Thanks, whoever asked up above. I missed it. Slango says, hi Shane, do you tweak the model with perspective camera at any point in production, or do you stick with orthographic to model? I stick with orthographic about 85% of the time. And the reason why is because if you're in perspective inside of ZBrush and you do things like clip brush, it will not cut it evenly through the model. And I will use perspective to check everything. So yeah, he's got a neck brace on, right? I need to get this this loop in here. So anyway, I'll turn perspective on just to check things. And I'm really excited because, you know, they announced at the ZBrush Summit that they're working on new camera stuff. So I can't wait to check that out. Okay, I'm just using cloth to push this in. Pull this out. Perspective is in ZBrush, perspective is asymmetric. Yeah, right? Okay, I'm trying to get this. I'm going to need some more resolution on this. I don't have enough resolution. So I'll solo this guy, and I'm gonna Z remesh it just to give me some resolution, and that's gonna also fix whatever is happening down here. I'm trying. Let's see. I'm gonna pull out the body because right now the seam that's connecting the arm to the body is on an angle like this, right? It's like at an angle like this. And I need it to be at an angle like this. So I'm gonna have to pull out those arms and then pull the body to match to make that seam better. Yep, folders, UV tools, all the things. Oh, Leeuwe, I've had that happen before. And it's because it'll, yeah, when you're going across, it's usually a broken mesh at that point, when it just kind of makes garbage, like almost noise across the surface as when you're smoothing. Try clearing your mask, try exporting just that object out as an OBJ, and then bring it back in to see if that clears off the mess, which is going to be kind of hard because you're going to lose your subdivision levels. So when you export an OBJ, it's not going to export all the subdivision levels. So when you bring it back in, you'll have to rebuild those lower subdivision levels. But that's kind of the only way around that, unfortunately. It's kind of a mess. But usually it's a mask thing, or you can save it and try and just restart ZBrush and see if that fixes it. But sometimes it just doesn't do what you want. And that only really happens on very dense meshes for me. But it hasn't happened in a long time. Like since ZBrush 4R6 or something. Some older version. So I don't know if they've fixed it. I don't know what version you're working on. Angie asked, yeah, So Much Monsters, they did during, they announced them during the ZBrush Summit. They announced the UV thing, the cameras, and what else? I'm trying to remember. Folders. Because I shouted folders to the audience like a goober. So Angie was saying, do you work with dynamic subdivs? Because it looked like before, even before you did the Z remesher, I mean, like, you smooth stuff pretty quickly without Dynamesh. Yes, I almost always, because I like my meshes as smooth as possible for as long as possible, I leave my mesh as low as I can get it, but still having enough geometry that I can work with it. So like I'm running out of geometry on this turtleneck, so I'm gonna need to add more. But before I do that, I wanted to kind of move this stuff around before I Z remesh it. I don't think I'm ready to stitch it together yet. So I'm just gonna Z remesh what I have right now and just see what it gives me. So every time I do something big, I'm gonna duplicate it. So I make another subtool, hide the original, and then we're gonna Z remesh it. So we'll do it in the gizmo this time with remesh by Z remesher. Whoops, I want to do this and remesh by Z remesher. Okay. Yeah, you scared me, Joe. Knock it off. Yes, they announced it. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm turning on Symmetry by X. And then I'm going to pull the target polygon count out to somewhere around 4. That's a little too much. Okay, but you can see that... I'm not going to say anything, Joe. You can see that it made the collar very chunky because I'm trying to Z remesh a very low mesh, and it's following the low polygon. So what I'm going to do is back out of here like this, and then I'm going to actually apply the dynamic subdivisions and then delete the lower subdivisions like that So it'll follow this instead of the low resolution. So now I can go back in here, Z-remesh, or remesh by Z-remesher, X symmetry is turned on, and then we're going to give this another tug and see what it's going to give us. That's much better. See, now it's not all chunky and weird. Okay. Now, I like that. I'm going to hit accept. And we're back. All right. Let's see. Use TopoGun is cool and cheap for retopo at least. Oh, yeah, I used to use TopoGun for baking maps, but I can't get into retop right now. Okay, let's see. Just don't mix dynamic subdivs and real subdivs. Yep, it'll make your machine choke. So they don't get along together. So if you have dynamic subdivisions turned on and then you add a real subdivision level, your machine's gonna get really, really slow. So you either do one or the other, not both. Yes, Angie, it's just like hitting number 3 in Maya. It's a smooth preview, that's all it is. It's like showing you 3 subdivision levels up. It's kind of a preview of what it's gonna be when you actually subdivide it, which is really nice. Because then you get all the benefits of having a mesh that doesn't have subdivision levels, but then you get the benefits of the smoothing of it. The only thing you really can't do with dynamic subds is surface detail and surface texture detail. So really high resolution, like hard lines or, you know, just any kind of surface detail, high resolution detail, you can't get because the mesh is too low, you know. But it works for keeping your mesh nice and smooth. You can see that I don't have a very hard colored line around this eye right here. And the reason why is because I don't have enough resolution to hold that line. So I'll just wait until I actually decide to add real subdivision levels. And that's why I haven't put in this graphic feature right here, because I can't get the resolution high enough yet. I wait till the very end before I'm like, okay, I can add resolution now. So I like to keep it as low as possible. Using GB, I don't know what that is. I do retopologize using the Z-sphere topology occasionally, but since we have the topology brush now, I usually use that because it's so much faster. It's so much easier to just draw it on there. And you'll see me do that when I make this eyebrow. I thought I made that eyebrow already. Maybe not. Anyway. These are great questions though. So now what I can do too is there's just this little seam here, and I'm going to put that in after the fact. And my flow is doing this, right? It has a little bump right there, and I want it to just go like that. I just want it to be nice and clean and smooth. So that's why I want to stitch it together. I'm going to do that really quick. So I don't want to stitch the turtleneck to the body, but I want to stitch the body to the sleeves. So I'm just going to put the turtleneck in a different subtool. So I can just split hidden there. No, I don't. I do that outside of ZBrush. And since this is Pixelogic's Twitch channel, I really don't get into talking about other software, so apologize for that, but okay. Oh, way too fast. Here we go. Turn smoothing down. Now we can start to get... Why do you use ZMesh Deformer instead of normal Z-remesher? They're both the same thing, but one of them gives you a cone so you can dial in exactly the density that you want. Otherwise, it uses the exact same settings as over in the tool menu. You just have one step more of control, because otherwise you're just guessing at a number. You know, it's just like, hey, let's try 2, let's try 3. And that's essentially what you're doing with the cone, but the cone remembers where you started before you Z-remeshed. So when you drag that cone again, if you don't have the right number, it will just Z-remesh it, remembering the old mesh. And if you're doing it in the tool menu, it doesn't do that. You have to undo. You have to go Control Z back out, then try it again. So that's kind of the main reason. All right. Got some warbles going on in there. I'm just going to lightly pinch this just to kind of define it. And then smooth it back out. Because I don't want to have hard edges in there. I mean, this is catching some hard edge-ish looking stuff, but it's not, I don't think it's like on purpose, that, you know what I'm saying? Okay, and then I want to make this whole thing wider to make it look fluffier around his neck. And if I'm missing any questions, feel free to ask them again. Chat's going by pretty quick today. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's my Bob Ross moment. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Okay, I'm just trying to get that flow happening in here. And making the sleeve less flat. See, this wing is pretty flat. And this is quite roundish from the pose. So we're going to have to kind of, you know, figure it out as we go. Sentimental sculpting. Totally. Okay, so let's go to the shirt, and I'm going to stitch this together. Totally. How long or often does your student challenge take place? Oh, somebody was asking a student challenge. Sorry, ask that question again. I think it was Sumerian, no? Ask it again. I just glanced at it. How often does your student challenge take place? I'd love to participate, but I'm attending Sculpt January right now. I knew there might be a conflict of interest in between those two, but usually it depends on what the challenge is. Typically, if it's a game character, I'll go 2 months. But if it's just a high resolution character, I'll go 1 month. So right now, what she's asking about is inside of my course, my online course, 3D Character Workshop, I'm doing a creature box. If you guys are familiar with creature box, it's Greg and Dave that work on Ratchet and Clank, and they just do these amazing monsters. And I'm having the students model anything by Ratchet and Clank. Or not Ratchet and Clank, but Creature Box. Hello. Anyway, and I actually, Dave and Greg are going to be judges. So I'm super excited about that. Okay, I forgot to turn Symmetry back on. Right, Joe? Sure, man. Dude, those are so fun to sculpt. Seriously, so fun. Faraway student in Tunisia? How do I say that? That's awesome. Hello. Joe was he was a judge for one of my student challenges. Thank you very much, Joe. I'll have to have you again. Do you want to be a judge for this one? I like to have more than 2 judges for sure. And I'm not a judge, just so you know. I just put it together and I let other people judge. That way I'm not biased. Okay, so you can see the edits I made over here. Oh, you're going to enter it? Well, you got until the 31st. Go, go, go. All right. So the thing with Mirror and Weld is it works from screen left to screen right. And I've been working on the screen right side. So, and I've been working with Symmetry turned off, and I just realized it because I Z-remeshed with Z-remesher. That's one thing I need to ask those Pixelogic peeps if they could leave that on by default. Don't turn Symmetry off, but maybe there's a reason why. I'm sure there is. Anyway, so what I need to do is I need to go in here and mirror it first. So this is in the deformation palette. You mirror it. So I just mirrored that over to screen left. Now I can do a mirror and weld like that. And mirror and weld is one of those things that does not work if your object has subdivision levels. It has to be, you know, using dynamic. That's another reason to use dynamic, because mirror and weld does not work. So, and I need to turn on symmetry before I forget. All right, back in action. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to stitch these together. And I can do that by going to this gear and going to remesh by union. Let's turn on this, and that's going to stitch it together like this. You ever play with this, Joe? Remesh by union. It's like doing the live boolean, but without doing any booleans. Pretty nice. I used to use Dynamesh to get it stuck together, but now I use this. So I'm going to hit accept. And then again, I got to turn symmetry back on. Hey, what's up, Tenchi? Angie, so excited you're going to do the posing. Sometimes all my shapes are effed after posing, especially the hands. I find arms and legs. So when I... Oh, no worries, Joe. I was just asking if you use remesh by union at all. It's like live boolean without the boolean. So... Okay, it does this, and then basically you can Z-remesh it again. See how it just kind of stitches the two together? So I typically used to use Dynamesh to do this, but Dynamesh just kind of gives you a mess sometimes. Dynamesh is more for experimenting when you're actually like, Dynamesh is more like sculpting by hand is, when you're actually using clay and you're getting in there and you're getting messy and you're using like your clay buildup brushes and stuff like that, like real sculpting. That's what I use Dynamesh for, and Sculptress Pro for, is if I'm just getting in there and getting dirty with it. But if I'm trying to stay clean, it's nice to use these big primitive objects and then stitch them together rather than Dynamesh them together. So you can see, Joe, here I'll back up. So these two pieces, right, I want to stitch them together. And it's just under this gizmo, under the gear. And you just hit remesh by union. But the thing that you have to do before you do that is center the gizmo. If it's out here like this and you try and do it, it's going to give you an error. So remesh by union. See, it says, sorry, you can't do it. So what you have to do is hold down Alt and then center it in the world with the little house guy, holding Alt, and then center the axis with this little circle, and then hit the gear, and then hit remesh by union, and then it'll stitch them all together. See that little stitch? And it won't rebuild the entire surface of your mesh. So that's why I kind of like it. It does destroy all the details. Yeah, Dynamesh destroys details unless you crank it way up. But see, I'm not doing any details right now. I'm keeping my mesh clean. I'm not to that point yet. Oh, you made a script to merge group Dynamesh and Z-remesh? Ooh, we should do a script that does this instead. Just saying. Okay, then I just go back here and say accept, and then Z-remesh this instead of Z-remeshing a Dynamesh. So we can go back in here again, remesh by Z-remesher, and the cone is about the same target. So, whoops, symmetry's turned off. Let's do it again. I don't know why it didn't do, because my red cone was pulled out. That's kind of weird. Okay. Anyway, that'll do kind of a nice job Z-remeshing, and then you can just hit accept. Yeah, you can. It'll take on any. So let's do it. Let's do it again. Let's roll back. Let me clear my mask, and I'll show you. It'll accept any settings in the Z-remesher workflow over here. So if I go to Z-remesher, turn on keep groups, then I can hit Z-remesher over here, but I'll just go in here, and it should keep the same settings. Yep. See, keep groups. So now the sleeves have groups. That's actually pretty nice. So I'll hit accept, and then I can come in here and just kind of work on that flow a little better. Looks like I can turn up my... Does that make sense? I can make a script later. Oh yeah, talk to me about it if you want. If you want me to show you the process again, we'll get a script. be awesome. Let's inflate that a bit. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, the only thing is with Z-Remesher, sometimes it's a kind of a grab bag when it comes to the results you're going to get, right? So sometimes I need to adjust the settings over in Z-Remesher, like keep groups or not, or, you know, the different things. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. So a script will do like a specific thing every single time, right? Oh, where does it live in the actual UI? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I've only found it in the cog, so I don't know exactly where it lives outside of there. How's it going, Tenchi? Okay. Making sure I get the questions answered. Okay. And I'm going to put this little seam in the bottom of the sweater and probably around the wrists later when I get more resolution put in there. So for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to just continue on. I'm going to make his hat. His hat and his eyebrows are next. So I'm going to click on his head and insert multi-mesh sphere. Hold on one second. Need to adjust my mat that I'm standing on. Oh, somebody asked about this tablet. This is a Cintiq 27-inch from a couple years ago. All right, done. The Horizon Zero Dawn did everything in Dynamesh. You know, that used to be my older workflow, and that's actually what's in my course right now is a Dynamesh workflow. So I used the Dynamesh workflow for quite a while. This is just something I found and adapted. So Yuri, I'm going to open it very, very soon. So just stay on that newsletter, and you'll get notified super soon. Thanks for asking, though. And like I said, it's a great time to join because I just barely started doing a student-only live stream. So it's exactly this same format. But instead of being on Twitch, it's inside my course only for students only. And I'm going deeper. So I talk about anatomy, I talk about texturing and all sorts of stuff that I really don't talk about on the stream out here, and other programs, stuff like that. So it's a good time to join. But I want to wrap up the student challenge first. Hey, what's up, Ron? Okay, I'm just shaping this hat. Just getting it to bend and pull out and then inflate. Thanks, Tenchi. Appreciate it. I have so many things planned for 2019 too. It's going to get way better. And just like ZBrush, all updates are free on my course. I love Pixelogic's business plan where you buy it once and you get lifetime access and all updates are free. Love it. So I modeled my business after their business because they take care of their customers. So I wanted to do the same. This heat? All right. I'm trying to get it so... Oh, hat. This hat. 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 Yeah, it's kind of... I want to get it so... What it do, Babu? I want to get it so I can, because I'm going to eventually need to stamp that anchor on the front of it. So I need to have it have a front, right? Right now it's kind of underneath. So I need to get that bill in there to feel it out, to make sure it actually has a face to it. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to add an edge to it just to kind of guide myself as to where the edge of that hat is. Babu, come on. All right. And just flatten that out just a little bit. I don't know if I like that or not, but hey, it's going to be there for a minute just so I can get an idea of the thickness and what I'm working with. Okay, let's make the bill. Put it on my bill. Not group split. I want to split unmask points. There we go. Oh yeah, Al, you asked that before, and I did not answer. I apologize. What are the key skills a sculptor should have to get better? I mean, what are the fundamentals of sculpting? Like learning anatomy. I was going to say learn anatomy, and honestly, the biggest thing I could tell you is to sculpt what you see, not what you know, and that's huge. Because a lot of people, a lot of beginning sculptors, they'll try and put in things that aren't there. There's two different things. One is enhancing something, which is putting design elements in that aren't there, like pushing it and making it look better in 3D. But then there's the beginner way of, you think you're just missing like the perspective and the design philosophies and the anatomy and things like that, and you try to put something in that's not in the concept, and it just goes and works against what you're trying to do. And then, yes, the next thing is just practice, practice, practice for sure. And then I have to say, a lot of students will go too far too fast, and they'll get into the details way early, or they'll try and render it, or when the block out is the number one most important thing to get right. If you don't have your proportions and your block out correct, the rest is just going to be crap, right? And I guess we say in the business you can't polish a turd, right? So if your block out is a pile of crap, then there's no amount of texture detail or rendering work that's going to fix it. So you got to make sure you get that right. Yeah, you got to match the reference. That is what. So the client's already paid the concept artist for that reference, and it's already greenlit, and it's bought off, and they're like, okay, this is the character that we want. And if the character doesn't look like that concept, then they're not going to be happy, right? Okay, I'm just going to make a temporary sphere to draw this cap on. There's so many different ways I can make this bill, but this is how I want to do it today. That's a good way of putting it. Okay, and I'm just looking at the curvature of this sphere because it's going to be the base for my cap's bill. Now it's just a big purple sphere guy. But there is a method behind this madness. I'm going to split unmasked parts, go down and solo this. I actually want to have that hat showing for a minute. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. How many years of practice does it take you to get into the market? So I've been doing this for 19 years now. And I went to school for 3 back in 1997. So that's kind of a tough question. I've just been doing it for a long time. So, but people can start and get in the industry fairly quickly, like after a year or so, if they're good. Okay, I'm just going to start drawing some geometry. Oh, this is the hardest one, going down the middle. Okay. So I'm just getting this, I just want this curvature, this shape, and then I can tweak these afterwards. You were one. That makes me feel old, thanks. Okay, now for this, I don't want it to have thickness yet. I want to just edit the flatness of it, the skinny part of it. So I'm going to turn my draw size down to 1 and then click on the surface, and you can't see it, but it's in there. I just made a surface, so I'm going to hide this. Come on, hide it. There we go. Now we have this surface, and I can delete hidden, which will delete that sphere. And it looks like it automatically puts a crease down the middle. So I'm just going to hit uncrease all to clear that out. And I'm going to turn off dynamic smoothing. Now I can go in here with the move brush and just start to edit this bill of this hat. And make it kind of curvy in this direction. I could have drawn the curves, but I wasn't quite sure where the hat sat in relation to this bill, so okay. So it looks like I can bring this in quite a ways and make it curved. Now let's bring this corner up and in. There. See how it's kind of rounded now? Just by using the move brush to... and it also has a curve going this way that's following his head. And if I turn on dynamic smoothing, it's going to shrink everything because it doesn't have creases and it doesn't have thickness. So that's why I'm leaving it off, because this is where I want it. But now I can add some thickness to it. And it's pretty easy just to go into the Z modeler brush, hover over an edge, hold down spacebar, and just go to extrude, polygroup all. Then I can just pull that up, make it have some thickness. Now I want to, I'm going to crease the edges of the bottom. So I'm going to keep the bottom creased and the top not creased. Hold on a second, Pixel. I'll get right back to you. Okay, saving. Okay, so now what I want to do is crease. I want to crease that bottom edge. So again, I can go into my Z modeler, hover over an edge this time, hold down spacebar, hit crease, edge loop complete. Let's see if this goes all the way around. It does. Okay, so now if I hit D, you can see, if I turn off the polygroups, it gives a pretty decent bill that actually has kind of this curvature going down the lid like this, and then it kind of hooks and goes off. Like I didn't do a very good job drawing it. It kind of hooks down like that. And so the crease is only on the bottom of the bill. And then I just, now that that's in place, I can come back in here and just make the little tweaks and make it flow correctly. And I want this to go back and up higher. It's a little low and a little close. But see, that's all it takes to make something like a bill. It doesn't take too much. Then I want it to be a dark gray. not black. All right. Thanks, me, Barry. Thanks for hanging out. Actually want it to be that color, that blue, and we'll fill it. Okay. Pixel line 8. Say you have a character far ahead like this one and you forgot to weld a part. Stitch and remesher will not give you the resolution back. Correct. Will you accept to lose your work on the details, or do you have a tip? So typically I will accept and rebuild those details in. It's better to just do it that way. But if you already have subdivision levels, it's easier to kind of, what you can do is you can duplicate your mesh, Z-remesh that, which will lose the details, then subdivide it back up, and then project the details from the original back to the new one. So you can do it that way and still keep the details. Oh, you really like to see the boat? I think I might take that on. I'll have to see. The biggest, honestly, I'm not going to lie. The biggest worry for me there is I'm not very good with the Z Modeler brush. I'm not the best with it, so I just worry that I'll just kind of, struggle with the Z Modeler brush the whole time that I'm streaming, and that wouldn't be very fun to watch, I don't think. Excuse me. Ran into a ZBrush problem lately. Split to parts is not working anymore. Any ideas? I typically don't use split to parts. I usually either use I use split unmasked points, and I use group split all the time. But even though it's in my user interface, I don't use it very much. So you can send the bug off to Pixelogic and see if they know anything about it. But I haven't ran into that issue just because I don't use it that much. So, oh, you're in folds hell? Folds are hard to do. Folds are hard. My advice for folds is to be bold and be simple. So unless you're doing a realistic character, just keep your folds super simple, but be bold with them. Don't do just a subtle little blah, just do, all right, this is a fold. Kind of like in this neck right here. It's like I'm putting a fold here, here, and here. And that's it. Super simple. Don't go crazy with it. And they usually happen like where the pants meet the boots. Yeah, you just want to, and use reference and just go bold with it. Games and bacon. I'm used to it enough that I'm dangerous with it, For my course, I actually did a lesson on it, and I show the students how to build a pistol with ZModeler, and it works great. But Live Boolean wasn't out at the time, and now that Live Boolean is out, I love Live Booleans. I love them. So it's kind of like cheating for me using Live Booleans, instead of because I used to box model, I still do, but in the back of my mind, it's like, I need this to work like box modeling works. But now with Live Boolean, you don't have to think that way anymore. You can just say, this is going to subtract from this, and this will subtract from this. And it's like these invisible objects that just cut the original object to pieces and make it look good, and it's so fun. And it also makes making keys for printing really, really easy. Okay, I want to make the flow of this body work a little better, because it's being a sphere like this, and I want it to be like this more, like flow down into his legs more. Same from the side, because it's like being bulbous right here. Stop being bulbous. Oh, spawn. Man. That's a whole different job into itself. I think I have spawn 1, 2, and 3, and I didn't buy another spawn after that, and I don't know why. I just didn't. Okay. 3D Octavio, that's just temporary right now. I explained it earlier in the stream. Basically, I like to keep my resolution of my characters very, very low until the very end. So that's just temporary right now. And then when I actually add real subdivision levels, I'll go back in and tighten that up. And I'll get rid of the jaggities. So that's a level of detail that I'm not there yet. Okay, I like this flow better. It's not going so much like this. It's going like this. Much better. Can I make a 1923 Bugatti? I make characters, not cars. Well, I have made. That's a lie. I have made cars in the past, but that's not my thing. I like cars. I just don't model them. There we go. Okay. I am liking that. Let's save it. Gotta go back to my folder. So I made Lightning McQueen. I worked on Lightning McQueen for Disney Infinity. So I did make that. I made a tractor. I made Chick Hicks. I worked on Cars 2. Wait, was it Cars 2? Yeah, I think I worked on Cars 2 and I made a bunch of the cars in that. Okay. Do your viewport rotate around Z-axis like mine? I don't know what that means. Sorry. Okay, let's see. What do I want to do? Let's get that eyebrow in there, and I want to make an upper eyelash, too. Oh, sure. If you do a hashtag 3DCW 3D Character Workshop, that's kind of what the hashtag has been. If you want to do that, that'd be cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, Games of Bacon, it's amazing. I love doing keys. Just make sure you make a slightly larger key for the female and a slightly smaller key on the male side, because the resin or whatever you're printing with may shrink a little bit. So it's good to give yourself a tiny bit of leeway in there. Don't do it 1-to-1. It's a little tip for you. Okay, let's get the eyebrow in there. Oh, thanks so much, Mosin. Eyebrow. Let's go on. That's another thing I teach too, is depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, you kind of have one good stroke in your hand, like one good arc that you make with your hand, because you naturally have an elbow that's connected to your hand and it makes a good arc. So with ZBrush, you can orient your model to match your perfect stroke. Okay. So right now, if I was to draw this eyebrow, I'd have to tuck my elbow up underneath here and try and draw this. So what I do instead is turn him. So now when I draw, it's easier because I have a natural arc. And this works on tablets. It doesn't have to be on a Cintiq. Whatever you want to do. And I kind of wish all other programs would allow you to do that. It's on a navigation called a trackball, which I love. Love it. Okay, now in this one, I can actually add thickness right now because I like what it looks like. There's not much editing that I need to do. So it's going to add thickness based on the size of my brush. So I made my brush, and that's the inside ring. Can you see the inside ring of this brush? It's going to use the inside ring to make the thickness of whatever you're gonna make, and it's going to put the thickness on the inside and outside of the character when you do that. So I just clicked on the surface, And you see it made thickness, and I'm going to split it into its own subtool so I can edit it. So I'm going to say split unmasked points, and then hit the down arrow to select it, and then I can solo it like this. It rotates around the Z-axis sometimes by accident. It looks like a bug. I'm not sure exactly what you mean there. So how are you rotating when you, like, what buttons are you holding down when you rotate? Also, it's going to rotate around the last. It depends on if you're hovering or if you're actually touching the screen when you orbit your camera. If you're hovering, it's going to rotate around the point that you start to click your button and hover and move it with right click with your pen. So if I go over here, it's gonna, well, maybe not. Sometimes it does, sometimes not. Or it'll rotate around the last touched spot on your model. So if I touch it down here, I just touch it and then I rotate, you can see the camera is moving around that last touch spot. And if I go click over here and just touch it and rotate, you can see it's orbiting around that spot now. So if you're having troubles making the camera focus on where you want to work, just touch it first with your pen. Just touch it, and then it'll reset the camera to orbit around that. How exactly did you do the eyebrow? I always do it with masked extract, but you just did it a way faster and way better. Thanks. I'm not a huge fan of extract. I talked about it actually earlier in this stream because it makes kind of a really messy result when you're done. So how I did it was I just drew with a topology brush on the surface. So see this topology brush? And I just drew some faces, some squares in a row. And then when you're all done and you like the way it looks, just adjust your brush to the thickness that you want your eyebrow or whatever to be, and then just tap on the surface, and it'll make an object like this. 7? I guess, Chris, I don't understand. Sorry. I don't understand. 7. That makes curves. I think I have different hotkeys than you. Because what 7 did was just surrounded my mesh with curves. Yep, I do most of my clothing that way. So you can watch my past streams and you can see I do it over and over and over and over again to make clothing or objects or eyebrows. Just draw on the surface, and then I split it off of whatever I'm doing. So I just barely split these eyebrows into its own subtool, just like you would if you extracted. So oh, are you talking about snapping? So if you hold shift, you can snap to different angles. See that? So in a minute, Captain. Uncrease all. And then I want to crease the back here. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my subdivisions. I think I want to just crease the purple, around the purple. So let's grab Z Modeler. And I want to switch it to edge loop partial because I don't want to go all the way around. So I'll click this one. Okay. This and this. Okay, so now it's creased along the head and then it's not creased on the outside. I only will use extract on full clothing if it has something that would be very, very hard to draw, like lace or something like that. Otherwise, I'll either block it out like I did with this guy with just spheres or something, or I'll draw on the surface, which I typically do. For a shirt, I'll just draw it on. I'll just draw the collar, I'll draw everything on with Topology Brush. Extract is just too messy for me. It's kind of my personal workflow, but that's just how I like to do it. Because I like to keep it low and friendly. Let's see. I just want to, the reason I'm masking the back of this off because I just want to shrink it down a little bit. Make sure local symmetry is on. Just so it tapers more like that. Okay. Now I can just kind of come in here and edit it. Okay. So I'm liking that. Oh, Nathan, thanks for joining. Let's see. Oh, how can you find the past streams? What's up, Gavin? You can go to, just do a Google search for ZBrush Live. And just the first one, Pixelogic ZBrush Live, click on there. And then you can find all the stream. You can actually watch us streaming right now. But you can go to presenters or schedule. Just go to presenters. And you'll see all the presenters past broadcasts and schedules right here. And you just click on past broadcasts right here. Then if you scroll down, you can see all of the past streams. So I think we're on... So this episode is episode number 75. I've done 75 of these. So, and you can see some of my work right here. And you can see some of my characters. So there you go. And you can find, yeah, this links to Pixelogic's YouTube channel, and you can find all of those there. You can also do a search for Shane or Shane ZBrush on YouTube, and you can find them all there too. And do I ever use panel loops? I do on occasion. But typically I will either use, it's just easier to use extrude inside ZModeler, but sometimes when I want to get a bevel, you know, like when I extrude and then I want it to bevel in, sometimes I'll use the panel loops to get that bevel. Or if I want to have some kind of a special design on the edge, like a book or something, then I'll use panel loops to get that curve. Yeah, Chris, thanks for helping Chris out. I don't really understand what you're asking. I apologize. Okay, now that I'm to this point, I'm ready to put details on here. So let's divide up. I didn't put an eyelash on there. Maybe I should, but for now I'm just going to leave it. So what I want to do now is I'll save it because I'm going to be going to the next step by giving everything subdivision levels. And then I'm going to delete everything I don't need. So I don't need this. And show the tail feathers. Okay. So everything else is showing. I don't need this. Delete that. Okay. And I need the ruler for later. Oh, you're actually turning the canvas. Yeah, you don't want to use touch. Yeah, don't use touch. If you have a touch screen, that's going to mess you up. Yeah, I'm just not a fan. Maybe you guys have grasped it, but personally, I'm not a big fan of touch screens. Okay, so I'm gonna add resolution to all of these. So I'm gonna go down my subtool list, and I could rename these right now if I wanted to. I'll spare you the boredom. And then I want to apply all the dynamic subdivisions. So it's gonna add 3 levels to this one. And it's smooth enough, but I'm going to add one more. So this beak alone is 300,000 polygons now. And I can do the same. Let's see. Let me go. I'm just going to go down this list. Let's do it to the head. Apply and subdivide it I'm gonna actually, I need a really hard edge around this eye. So I need to make sure I have enough subdivisions there. And I went up to 2 million. That's probably overdoing it. Let me try 600,000. Are you talking about like rotating the axis? So you're talking about rotating the whole canvas of everything? Like this. You're talking about that, right? Aha. Okay, so Clay, thank you very much, Clay. If you hold down Shift right before you right click, like this, then it's going to spin your character. It's going to actually spin the axis. Now it's not doing it. Come on. Oh, right click. I got it to do it. You saw it. But yeah, just so don't hold Shift right before right clicking to rotate. Now I can't get it to do it. I don't know. It's this weird thing. Yeah. You don't. There's. I used to use it on the Transpose tool. It's a little easier when you're doing the Transpose tool. Let me try and remember how to do it with Transpose. Let's see. I think it's. There it is. Okay, so with the Transpose, it's much easier and it's much more controllable if you actually. And this is just orbiting the camera. This is just changing the camera. You're not actually rotating your character. So this is rotating the camera. So if you use the Transpose line, and you can do that just by clicking it off right here, the gizmo, hold Control and grab this white circle, and you can actually do that around any point in space that you want, which is really nice if you want to use that, because then you can actually tell ZBrush what point you want to rotate your character or your camera around. Otherwise, it's just wherever you click and shift or click shift and let go. So, okay, let's go back to this. I'm gonna try that one more time. There it goes. Yep. So it's rotating around the last spot I touched. So I can do it not when I hover, but when I actually, so I'm not actually clicking anything. It's just holding down Shift, tapping on the canvas, and then letting go of Shift, and that's when it does it. So it's not doing it with right click. I was trying to do it with right click. Oh, it does. You have to let it go. Okay. I'm learning just like you guys. Holding Shift, letting go of Shift will make it rotate around the plane of the camera. So that's kind of cool. There you go. Thanks for asking the question, Chris, by the way. Hey, sir, I did, if you want to watch this back, you can rewatch. I just barely created the eyebrow that way. So I don't have anything else. I guess I could quickly create the eyelid. So let me just click on this eyelid and I'll quickly draw it really fast. So just with the topology brush, I just draw on the surface like this. And then I do the opposite side. And you want to keep your brush small. Otherwise it will snap to its neighbor. So you want to keep the actual brush size small. That will make smaller ticks. And then you just kind of come across here and make squares. Enough squares that it's going to have enough resolution to follow the curvature. Okay, and then just kind of tap on the surface, and it makes whatever you just made into a thicker piece. Then I'm going to solo that. I want to split it off of that eyelid. So let's go split unmask points. Okay, and then down arrow will actually grab it, the subtool. Then if I solo it, here are the eyelashes. Let's turn off dynamic subdivisions. Turn on, I'm going a little quick now, sorry, because I've already done it. So then I'm just going to come in here with the move brush and just fix this, the part where it's kind of twisting on itself. And I want to bury it in the head because I want it to taper off to nothing. Yeah, I want to get to posing, so I want to pose this guy and have him done hopefully today. And I usually have the back of the eyelash thicker or wider than the front. So I'll just go through here and just kind of hand bevel the whole thing. It's a pain in the butt, but it's not too bad. Well, thanks, Matthias. That's very nice. Yeah. What is this madness called ZBrush? Thank you so much for sharing that. That's great. I never get tired of hearing it. Okay. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. It's I can't wait to show you guys what I have planned for the course this year. I'm actually working with Mitch, the concept artist for this bird, Mitch Leeuwe. Yeah, he's done some. I commissioned him to do some just fantastic head breakdowns for me for a course, because right now I call it a mini bust course, and it's kind of like a miniature version of the course before you actually take the course, to prime you for it, to get you ready for it. And it's just kind of, it gets you ready without, it doesn't overwhelm you. It's very small, so it doesn't overwhelm you, and it walks you through step by step. But now I'm kind of realizing that there's a bunch of stuff that I missed in there, and I want to expand on that mini course and make it bigger. And I'm actually going to make it so you can choose from more concepts and things like that. So I'm really excited. It's going to be awesome. Oh, Yuri, I taught at college, a local college once. And then I did some courses for digital tutors a long time ago. And then I had a Gumroad, just a really small Gumroad course that's rather old now. It's still relevant, but the concepts or the techniques are kind of old. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to subdivide this and look at it actually on the character, and then color it black. I still had that color selected. Then I just want to line it up with the actual eyelid itself. And then I do workshops. Yeah, the frog one. And then I do workshops around the country and other countries too. More and more people are asking me to travel to different schools and different businesses to do workshops for them. I'll be going to the New York City Toy Fair in February to give a workshop. So if you guys are, any of you guys are going to show up at the New York City Toy Fair, I'll be there doing demonstrations. I want to come to London for sure. Tenchi, that'd be amazing. I've always wanted to go. And I'll most likely go to Mexico next year. I was going to go this year, but it's a little, it's kind of bad timing, so. Okay, so there's that eyelid. There you go. Now for this, I'm going to come in here and clean this up. Whoop. Let's grab that color. I love it. So now that I have more resolution, I can come in here and just sharpen this right up. Let me see what this looks like. Okay. I'm actually going to paint with the base color again first, because I'm just going to redo this whole thing, so might as well just fill it. Actually, before I do that, I want to keep this purple because I like it. So I'm going to switch colors, grab this purple. So see how I have the original loaded here and the new one loaded here, then I can switch back. And did you guys know that if you have two colors loaded like that, when you're painting, if you do a normal stroke, it'll just paint the main color. But if you hold down Alt, it paints the opposite color. Oh, come to Egypt? That'd be fun. So I'm going to fill it, and then I'm going to try and stick to this edge as well as I can here. And this is where a Cintiq comes in handy. Yeah, Brazil would be amazing. Well, thanks, Winston. Are you from East Coast? Winston, I'm glad you were able to make it out to the ZBrush Summit. So I've met Winston in person at the ZBrush Summit. I wish I could have talked to you more. Seemed like we were always like, I don't know, not sitting together or what have you. Okay. Much better. No longer jaggedy. And I can also come along here and run another pinch just to clean that up even more. An alt pinch, there we go. So you can do that. Let me get a better angle on it. Oh, you're from Seattle. You told me that. You told me that. There we go. Beautiful pinchness. It does create a little bit of a peak along that edge, but that's okay. You can just come smooth it. I'm working on polishing. Okay, there we go. What time you got? 1:42. Okay, this I'm going to show you guys. This is what I typically use Spotlight for. Okay. Oh, you want to go this year too? Oh, awesome. That'd be cool. Okay, for this hat, I haven't finished applying dynamics yet, but I'm going to crank this up to about 1 million, so 1.5 million. This hat. Now I can take the spotlight and I'm going to try and do what it's meant for so you can see it. Even though this anchors on kind of an angle, I'm going to kind of try and use it as a stamp just to get it in here and just kind of put it. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but we're going to try it. And I can turn the opacity down so I can see the hat underneath it. And I just want to use this side and then try and get it to mirror on the other side. Okay, so now what I need to do is turn that spotlight projection back on so it actually works how Spotlight was intended. I grab this hard paintbrush and then I just paint on the surface. Actually, I want to be a little tighter than that. I don't want to get the gradient values of the hat that's happening there. So then we'll see what it looks like. Okay. Well, we have it sort of in place. Yeah, you can match the angle of the model, I guess. Let's try it. Let's try it. But the problem is with that is it's hard to get the center, like the, you know what I'm saying? Like the middle angle to go right down the center of that hat. We'll see if I can get it. It's a good idea though. Let's see. You can kind of see where the center is by hovering your pen. You can see the 2 red dots, and that'll kind of give you an indication. You can also turn on polyframe and center it that way. That works. Okay, let's see. See if I can turn it a little more. I'm going to use that rotate trick. So shift, start, and then there we go. I can also rotate the image, but I'm going to rotate the camera. There we go. Let's try that. Try it one more time. I think it's going to work. Boop. And if you cross the center, it's gonna mess it up, so you gotta be careful. Yeah, gotta do it this side. Kind of hard to see where you've painted and where you haven't. You can kind of toggle it on and off like this. There you go. Not too bad. You can just come in here and clean it up. Thanks, Nathan. That helps. Okay, so then you can just grab this color and just repaint it. Just to get the edges a little cleaner. Sorry, my hat's hitting my microphone. Yep, you know, the hardest one for me that I actually used this for was doing some tattoos on the back of a guy's head. And I had to get it to wrap around. That was pretty hard. Looks like I'm running out of geometry on here. It's giving me some chunky monkeys. So I'll make that a little rounder. Whoops. I just used the Photoshop hotkey trying to eyedrop the color off of here. I'm hitting Alt instead of C. That throws me off all the time. Another way you can kind of get away from these jaggies is just increase or decrease your focus on the brush. Then it's not so much a hard brush, it's more of a soft brush on the edges at least. So it will help with those jaggies because it's like a softer edge. Anyway. Let me just kind of fix this little thing down here. Sorry, I bumped the mic again. Okay, that's just gonna work. Yay. Okay, so let's just do this other detail on his beak. I think I want to do the same thing and just kind of project it on there. Why not? So let's see. And you can see my beak is not exactly matching Mitch's beak, but it's pretty close. Let's see. I want to change that focus shift back. Make sure that's painting. Oh, it'd help if I had the beak active, huh? There we go. All right. I'm going to do that one more time. Get it cleaner. What does focal shift affect while painting? What do you mean, Nathan? Oh, focal shift. Oh, that's the fall off of the brush. That's all it is. It's just how hard the edge of the brush is. I want to make that go up the beak a little further, like that. Yeah, it's like, if you think about a light, like a spotlight, it's like the fall off of the spotlight. It's like the fall off of the brush. That's why I have a soft paintbrush down here and a hard paintbrush. That's basically the only difference between the two is the fall off, and a hard paintbrush is cranked RGB value all the way up to 100, so it's going to paint solid color. And then the soft paint is set to like 4 or something like that, so it's a very subtle, like airbrushy type paint. Okay. Let's do it one more time. Ooh. I'm going to do the outline first, like a coloring book. And then fill this in. I know I'll have to clean up where it touches and wraps around. Much better. There we go. Oh, great. I didn't have didn't have mirroring on. Gosh dang it. So let me try one thing. See if this is going to work. Mirror. I don't think I've ever tried to mirror Polypaint before. Let's see if it works. Smart resim. I think that only affects geometry. Yeah. Oh well, I'll just do it again. Oh, you said Cog, you meant Gizmo. So what are you saying? Or you saw an artist projecting an image of a tree trunk in his tree model to pass. So yeah, to use that, you have to use, under here, you can use this Z app link and you take it over to Photoshop. And then when you're in Photoshop, you can paint something on one side of the model and it'll project it all the way through to the other side of the model. So yeah, you can do that. What I can do too is I can project this. So here, I'll just show you how to do this. This is problem solving. Here we go. So what we can do is I'm going to duplicate this. There's always a way out. There's always a way out. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this and then I'm going to get rid of the subdivision levels, delete lower, and then just mirror it normally. So then it's over here. So see, this one is on this side and that one's on that side. Then all you need to do is go back to this original one and I'm going to mask off this half, right? And then show just these two objects and then project all. So project all, and then it's going to project that onto the beak like this. And then if I hide the original, there we go. Done. That's the way you can do it. Thanks, Dan. Or you could do this. There's so many ways. So many ways. So let's just delete. All right, let's show everything. How's it going, Dan? Good to see you. I saw that you're going to be a dad. Is that true? Papa Dan? That's awesome. Yeah, you can project Polypaint. Also, a neat little trick with that. If you want to just project Polypaint, what you can do is before you project, just hit Morph Target. Say you're wanting to project paint from an object that's a different shape, like slightly. It has to be close, but slightly different. And say you've been working on a new subtool and you're like, oh, I forgot, and something happened, you just forgot. What you can do is save a Morph Target on the one where you want to keep the topology, the surface, the original shape, and then you can just set a Morph Target, project it, and then just flip the Morph Target back to what it was. So that's a way where you can keep your Polypaint. Dude, that's awesome. I got 4 of the little buggers. It's true. It's true. And I'm a grandpa. I'm an old guy. Okay, so I'm going to mask off this, then invert it because I want to paint up underneath here, but I don't want to mess it up. Oh, really? That sounds fun. For my first kid, my wife made me a little like a daddy apron with like all the diapers and stuff in the apron, like getting ready to take care of a kid apron. It's pretty cool. It's fun. Miss those days. Now my youngest is, gosh, what is she? 11. Let me grab a darker color here. Okay. That will work. I'm trying to decide if I want to have that highlight on the beak. It's kind of cool. But if I'm going to do that, I should put a highlight on the rest of it. like a hand-painted highlight. So I'm just trying to grab a color. Okay, just got to make sure it was working. I need to turn that RGB intensity up. And you can fake highlights and hand paint them in. There's just like they do at Riot or Blizzard, stuff like that. You know, hand painted textures. Ah, symmetry. I don't have symmetry on. Gosh dang it. Oh man, I guess I gotta do it again. Here we go. I'm turning on symmetry this time. Freak. I'm gonna say a swear. I usually don't swear on my streams, but I'm about to. Okay, here we go. Duplicate. Delete lower. Mirror. You guys wanted to see it again anyway, right? Hide everything. Put that. Okay. And then project all, where I got to mask it. I can't mirror and weld because it has subdivision levels. And I can't have symmetry turned on when I do this mask because I want to mask this off because I don't want it to reproject on that side. Project all. Okay, done. Clear. Turn on symmetry. Damn it. Okay. Are we good? Oh, let me turn this one off. I did it to the wrong one. Hold on a second. I did it wrong. I was doing it too fast. Here we go. Let's do it again. Okay. Duplicate. Gosh dang it. Gotta select the right subtool. Okay. Duplicate. Then mirror the, or delete the lower subdivision levels. Then mirror it. Okay, so my painting is on this side. We're good. Now go back to this one. Turn off symmetry. Mask it. I'm turning symmetry on right now before I forget. Then project all. Okay, and then hide the other one, and there we go. Ah, there we go. Okay, now I can delete this one. And we should be good. Yay. And symmetry's turned on. Okay. Then one last thing. Well, let me finish going through. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because we're running out of time here. 1.26. It doesn't look like I'm going to get to posing. Yes, that would be bad, Matthias. Mirror and weld is prone to errors. Did I say mirror and weld? I meant freezing subdivision levels. Freezing subdivision levels is bad. Well, it can be good and it can work, but it's prone to issues. So I tend to stay away if I can. But I'm just going to put some lines in here. Hey, it's orange. Let's do a dark blue. That'd be fun. Okay. I really sound like Bob Ross that time. That'd be fun. Okay, let's see. Okay, nope, I didn't go high enough. Okay, I need to go higher. Oop. If you make noises when you do your strokes, it's better. Oop. Should probably make sure I'm getting it. Yeah. Radial symmetry? Nah, it's not symmetrical enough, Pedro. How you doing, man? What? I wish. If it was more of a cylinder, I could do that. Matthews, that's not the first time I've heard that. I'll take it. Thank you. Oh, come on. All right. Give me a little helper to draw down the center. Whoa. Sometimes that happens. Okay. Yay, turtleneck. Hey, there's my ruler. Okay, I'm actually glad the ruler showed up, because now if I want to scale my character, say I'm kind of done, right, with my character as far as I'm getting ready to pose, there's probably a couple more things I want to do, like I want to add the detail around the shoulder right here. I need to actually apply this, duplicate or subdivide. Okay, thanks, Pedro. And thanks, Nathan. Let's see. So this one is a stroke that I'm going to need to continue because I need to go all the way around. Well, they've added something in the latest, I think right before 2018, the version, the last version of the, before they went to 2018, they added this Chisel Brush. And what's so cool about this Chisel Brush, and a lot of people have asked me when I download, or when I have your older brushes, or when I'm looking at your course, where is the old brush? And I've replaced the old brush with this Chisel Brush because it has all of these profiles across the top, which are really cool. And it also works with morph targets. So I subdivide this up to about 1 million. Then I go set a morph target, which is super cool. Because here, let me show you what it does if I don't have a morph target. So if I do a line like this, and then I want to continue it like this, see, it makes a mess right there. Yeah, 4R8, the very last version of 4R8. Okay, but see that continuation right there that just looks like a mess? It would take forever to try and clean up. So if you make a morph target, where are you, morph target? Store morph target, okay? Now, if I were to draw a line around here like this, and then I stopped and moved my camera and I started again, look at that. Beautiful. It's doing some goop down in here because my mesh is too dense and weird. But as far as continuing a stroke, it's beautiful. It's just having some troubles down here. So what I'm going to do is I need to either choose to draw the line on this side of the mesh or on this side of the mesh, not right down the middle of that seam. It's going to give me some weird crap. So I'm going to choose to go on the inside of that crease. Isn't that cool? Okay. And it doesn't matter how zoomed in or out you are, it'll still work with that morph target. You just have to kind of be near the end here and just continue your stroke. Man, I wish we would have had that on Disney Infinity. Right? And just continue that stroke. I mean, sometimes you'll get a little bit of jitter in there, but man, that's nothing compared to what it used to be. Also, you can draw over top of another stroke and it won't mess it up. So here, I'll show you when I get up here. I just got to see where I'm going here so I don't draw it off into space. Okay, so these 2 points, I'm just kind of looking to see where that's going to go. See if I can get it to snap. A little off. Okay. So watch this. I can start here and I can go around a stroke like this and see how it still works. Before, if you didn't have a morph target, where you cross the streams would be completely messed up. It would just cause all sorts of valleys and mountains and not good things happening. Okay. And the only thing I don't like about the Chisel Brush is how it it kind of makes the edges a little funky, like they're a little stepped. So what you can do is just come in with smooth and just kind of knock those edges down. See that? Just knock them down. Ooh, I'm a little too hot on my smooth there. And then it'll just kind of smooth off the tops. Happy little creases. And you can do the same thing with the turtleneck here. Let's make a big smooth brush. So you only just kind of knock it off. Just kind of smooth it down a little bit. There we go. Bird. Always learning. There's always something to learn. Okay, last thing before I go, I'm just going to show you how I scale this whole character down. This is something that's also fairly new. Well, it's new since the gizmo, which is fantastic. And that is to move all of your objects at once. Okay, I want to make sure everything that I want to move is showing. I'm looking at the eyeball and everything. Now, the thing that thanks Neil. The thing that I don't want to move is the ruler. Well, I'm going to be using this thing inside the gizmo called, sorry, not in the gizmo, not in the gear. It's in the gizmo, but not in the gear. It's Transpose all selected subtools. It's this little drop down right here. Can you guys see that? Just click that and open it up. That just essentially says I'm going to move all my subtools all at the same time. And I don't want to move it now because it's going to move the ruler with it. See this? See how the ruler's going along for the ride? I don't want that. I want to mask the ruler off because this Transpose all selected subtools actually respects masking. It's really nice. So I'm going to grab the ruler and I'm just going to mask it off. Right? Say, don't move the ruler. Okay? Masking works, masking will work with move all subtools. So you can mask off any piece or part of any subtool and it will ignore it when you're moving everything. So it's super nice. And the reason I'm using masking and not hiding and showing is because I want to see that ruler in space. I could hide it and it wouldn't affect the ruler either, but I want to see the ruler. Okay, so now that the ruler is masked off, I can grab him, move him up to here. Okay, now I want to move this gizmo down to, well, I can actually just hold down Alt and tap on the house to send it home, like that, and then reset the axis. Now I can scale it from the bottom of the ruler, the exact bottom of the ruler, and I can show you the floor, and you can see how the floor, and he's really big right now. I have a real ruler right here, this ruler, and it has centimeters on it. So this ruler is actually in the file. So if you're going to 3D print this guy, this ruler is 20 centimeters tall. So that's how big that if I was to print that guy out right now, he'd be this tall, right? That's really big. I want him to be, if I was going to print him out, I want him to be about 10 or 12, maybe 10. Let's do 10 centimeters. So this ruler is to real world space. So now I can just scale him down to go to 10 centimeters tall, which is essentially 100 millimeters tall. So see 10. And now I can also hide the ruler because I know that the way I have this file set up is the background right here, the grid matches the grid of the ruler. So you can see it's probably hard to see on your screen, but the grid I have lined up to the tick marks on the ruler, and they're even more precise than the ruler because the ruler is kind of these fat tick marks. So what I can do is just hide this ruler. Let me select this one so we can see it. And now you can see that the hat is slightly off. Let me reset this gizmo again. And then I can just move it, just try and get it even closer to that 10, just as close as I can. Then you can just turn that off and your character is scaled. Looks like did his eyes get messed up? Looks like his eyes got messed up. Okay, anyway, I don't know why, but this is good. We're good. Yes, and then just like Neil said, you have to, when you're done scaling your character down like that, make sure you uncheck this transpose all subtools, or you'll kind of be in this weird, I call it max headroom land. Like it's these weird lines and it's just this strange place where you don't want to be. So make sure you uncheck that. And if you do get into that where it's displaying strangely, just turn that back on and then do just clear out your selections, like hold Control plus Shift like this and let go, and it'll clear out your selection and it'll clear out all that weird display. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Thanks, Neil. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. We didn't get to posing, unfortunately, but you guys were asking a lot of really good questions, so I wanted to get them answered, and I'm pretty happy with how this guy ended up. I don't know if Mitch is still here. Probably not. It's getting pretty late in, I think he's in the Netherlands or something like that. Now I can turn on perspective and check perspective. I'm just going to check him out. I do want to add the cuffs around the sweater and the cuff around the bottom of the sweater, just for that added detail. And I'll probably just mask those off and scale them in slightly, just to make a little line around there, just a hint of a line, just to make it look like it's whatever it's called, the the stuff that keeps your sweaters. Anyway, that stuff, the ribbing, or I don't know why I can't think of that word today. Anyway, and as usual, if you guys like these brushes and you like this user interface, you can always find this. I give it away for free over on my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. You can check it out. Yep, 3D Character Workshop right across here. Yeah, the elastic. Thank you. It's like, what am I trying to say? Anyway, you can get my user interface, and it also comes with the starting project, which has that ruler in it that will help you scale your character. And that ruler also works with Maya going back and forth. So that's a really nice thing. And it comes with this user interface, which also comes with my custom menu right here that you've seen me use all throughout this stream today. And once again, it'll put you on my newsletter, and I will put out, I'm going to be putting out actual newsletters pretty soon. So it's going to be highlighting students and things like that, and giving you tips and tricks and all sorts of things. So I've been neglecting my newsletter for so long just because I'm a person who doesn't like spam or anything like that. So I got to make sure I actually release some good stuff. Anyway, yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. It's been a pleasure again. I will see you next Monday. And thanks again, Pixelogic, for having me stream. And I can't wait to see what Pixelogic does in the future. It's always really cool. So take care, guys. Happy sculpting, and we'll see you next week.